Hi, Frank Casale here. I head up the Outsourcing Institute as well as the Institute for Robotic Process Automation. I'm joined here by our good friend, longtime member and thought leader, Vishal Alawalia. Vishal is formerly the head of outsourcing and offshoring at UBS and is very active in the outsourcing scene, both ITO and BPO. And Vishal, thank you for joining us here today.
Frank, always a pleasure and congratulations for all the new initiatives you are doing for the industry. And I take this opportunity very seriously because I think this is a conduit to have your ideas conveyed, shared across the marketplace. And we are doing it again after the Harvard Club event. So all the best.
Thank you. Thank you for taking place. So, the last event you were up on a panel and you were the first one to mention that we should be doing some of these things in between the events, right? So we don't kind of go quiet for 6 months. So here we are. And the next event is the BPO Innovation Conference. So we're going to be doing a string of these video chat interviews with the focus being, no surprise, BPO and innovation. So let's dive right in, Vishal. You've seen a lot of different deals, old-fashioned deals, new-fashioned deals. What is your sense of what's the big deal with innovation? Why do you think we see such an interest in the past 2 or 3 years where buyers are not only requesting more innovation, but they seem to be a bit frustrated that the service providers aren't bringing that to the table? What do you think's behind that?
So I think if you look at very optimistically and very clearly, I think keeping cost aside, when the lift and shift happens, like change the bank becomes run the bank, right? And you have this contractual agreements where you sign. For the vendor, they are only subject to the SLAs or the matrix what they have. But at the buy side, where the strategic initiatives are, there are different mandates from the market, different mandates from the businesses, right? That's the time the connectivity is not there. I remember meeting a very senior C-level executive in my last job, and she told how many times, Vishal, you or your team or the vendors need the actual businesses. And thereby the innovation is a connected dot from the business, from the middle level, right to the bottom. And I think off-site synergy, building platforms, and pushing the vendor and vice versa. They asking questions that they are more feet to the ground. They might be, working at Morgan Stanley, Citibank, Barclays, and bringing that innovation is very important.
So, Vishal, let me stop you there and thank you. So, you bring up a good point, and that is the need for maybe different discussion with different people in the organizations, right? It's not as simple as maybe the selling organization on the sell side and maybe the sourcing organization on the buy side. We've all seen those deals for the past 2 decades. So that's a good point that you bring up. So here's the question though: are you, as the buyer, are you willing to have those conversations? Are you willing to invite those people to the table, and do you see your colleagues doing that?
I personally, I believe in all energies put together and be positive and bringing the best cake. So I'm very open about it. I cannot speak about others because that's how you connect all the dots. You have to be optimistic because in the end, it's the clients who have to be serviced, right? Whether it is your where you work, their client, or for the vendors, I'm a client, right? In the end, there's a connection. It's a revenue generating machine. How do you bring that value? And innovation is a word which we time and again keep on using it, but how effective it is to bring the value and quantify it, that's important. Whether it is bringing operations and IT together, whether it is platform building together, or whether it is, bringing when you do the transition, how do you cut costs by bringing clean rooms, right? Bringing business continuity and cutting costs. So all this is part of innovation.
So Anupam, I'm sorry, I spoke to Anupam Govil, who you know very well, Vishal, and as we were planning really this upcoming conference, and we had a couple of folks from the advisory committee on that call, and one of the members on that call mentioned that if you look at the way most BPO deals are done right now, based on the RFP and even based on the contract, there's really no chance in hell that there will be any innovation in the deal. The RFP ensures no innovation, and at least traditional RFP, and the traditional contract pretty much ensures no innovation. Do you see that as well? And if so, then what do we do differently?
I just went down, got this coffee. I'm having this coffee. When I bring to my table, I can put two more sugars to it. Maybe three, right? So yes, I agreed. If you look at from a procurement standpoint, when the contract is paid, they go to the site. But actually, when the RTB happens, when the real users who own the product, who own the service, interact with the teams, in an offshore location, and the interaction, I had started very, large scale, initiative like that, knowledge sharing opportunities, whereby both teams will interact on a monthly basis and share ideas. When you go to these offshore centers, visit these offshore vendors, Cognizant, Wipro, Accenture, XYZ, right? What you build, because there's a lot of talent there. And Frank, now is the time which has come. In a lot of functions, you will see 80% of your operations are sitting in India, China, Philippines, Brazil, right? They are your team, whether it is your captive, whether it is a BOT, or whether it is a vendor facility. It is up to you how to leverage them. And I'm a firm believer, keep the contractual in the closet, move ahead, and think how you can bring synergies and innovate yourself.
Okay, so Vishal, I'm intrigued by the idea of this new conversation within different folks in the organization. So that's a really good point. I'm wondering though, if we jump back to vendor selection, so let's say you're on the front end of a deal and you want to bring a small handful of BPO service providers to the table, knowing that you want to do an innovative deal, which from my experience talking to you, you like all of your deals to be innovative deals. What is it that you're looking for beyond capability, technology, price? What is different in your vendor selection process?
Very interesting and very close to my heart. I was running a large scale initiative globally in my last job, and I held a kind of a conference, 3 days workshop in London, and I invited four tier one vendors, and all their vendors came with the senior management, did the song and dance. I won't name the vendor. One vendor came, and they were very clear and crisp. Vishal, we know we are good at this. We know we have to mitigate the risk. You have these, you know, issues which you want to circumvent and move forward. For this, we have the solution. They thought out of the box. They brought two more parties. They brought, examples like Deloitte or Swisscom to help us to mitigate our risk and join that. So that's innovation I'm looking for.
Okay, so you like that. All right, super. So, listen, Vishal, thank you so much. I know you're very busy today, and glad to get you to sit down. And I believe you have a whole bunch of other things going on this afternoon that are very exciting. So, a couple quick things. You will be joining us. Yes, you're on the agenda for the BPO Innovation Conference in New York, October 30th. Yes, you're on. I believe you've accepted.
I am on, and I would like to share a live case study of a huge transition from end to end and inception to closure so that the audience can get a taste how innovation was brought into that.
Okay.
If I get an opportunity, Frank, I will be happy to share.
Okay, super. And for those of you that are viewing this interview here, if you want more information on the conference, visit us at outsourcing.com/BPOI. I'll be there. Vishal will be there. Vishal, again, appreciate you always being there. This man has a lot of experience and always does have an opinion and an answer. Thank you, my friend. I hope to see you again soon.
All the best and see you soon. Good day.